Depopulation. America's dirty secret. Mass population purge. Global depopulation and the American mass population purge are the two biggest and dirtiest secrets the world ever kept. Here's your chance to see how it works. Your first reflex will probably be to reject what you will hear next. This is a normal response, because there will be no visible evidence to support the following claims. If the evidence of a mass purge was easy to spot and discuss, then it would not be a secret. Don't be ashamed. The US military, the greatest army on earth, missed it, too. But that is a story best left to the historians. What about dirty secrets? The best way to keep any secret is to suppress any mention of it, and then bury it under levels of distractions, and within a complex maze of diversions. The ever-expanding lie. You perpetuate this process until no one can discern where the truth begins, and the lie ends, and vice versa. Therefore, every now and then, the American depopulators will roll out trainloads and caravan loads of military vehicles to spook the YouTube alternative media into warning us all of the coming rollout of martial law. But the question these YouTubers should ask is, what are we missing when our attention is focused on military material and troop movements? YouTubers are mainly in denial about the mass disappearance of Americans from the North American landscape. Or, maybe the mass disappearance of shoppers, students, home buyers, the homeless, and American workers are not as important as mass military activity around the country. The US Census Bureau and the UN Population Division are the two biggest liars out there, which makes them the global keepers of the dirty secret. If the US government is lying about the domestic financial, labor, and housing markets, and lying about false flags, wars, terrorism, and rigged elections, then why wouldn't they be lying about population growth? The YouTuber alternative media constantly reminds us that the official narrative, numbers, and system are rigged. And rightfully so. But they never, ever include any discussion of population. It appears to be a given that national and world leaders would never lie to us about population. Why? What would be the point? Surely the government can at least be honest about population. Let's take a closer look at the United Nations Population Division and the United States Census Bureau. The following comment is from LiveScience.com, August 19, 2011. Headline: How do you count 7 billion people? The United Nations Population Division, UNPD, which keeps track of the world population, projects that the world's human population will hit 7 billion on Halloween Day 2011. Admittedly, that is just an estimate. There's no way to know exactly how many people are alive at any given moment, and the true date that humanity's ranks will surpass 7 billion could come in the weeks or months before or after October 31, 2011. Nonetheless, the UN's guess is the best there is. Stop. So there it is. It's a best guesstimate. You would be well advised, in today's economic, political, and social environments, to first question all population and demographic claims before committing to a forecast, projection, or opinion. For the record, the UNPD is guesstimating a world population over 7.45 billion. And the US Census Bureau is guesstimating a resident population of 325 million. Both are wrong. Both are lying. Both are hiding a huge dirty secret. A dirty history of secrets. And a dirty secret history. Let's try these two best, unofficial guesstimates, and see which set, official numbers versus unofficial numbers, best describe or explain world economic and geopolitical conditions. The unofficial world number is just below 5 billion, with a projected target of 4 billion by 2030. Versus the official 7.45 billion, with a projection of over 9 billion. And the unofficial US number is below 200 million, with a forecasted target of below 100 million, versus the official 325 million, with a target of over 500 million. the African American population is doing even worse. The official US Census Bureau is guesstimating the black population has exploded past 45 million, but all the available evidence and statistics support an unofficial guesstimate of less than 20 million, with a target of less than 10 million by 2030. The last time the U.S. black population was at, or below 10 million was in the year 1900. If the 10 million target is achieved, 127 years of reproductive progress would be wiped out. In economic terms, based on an annual black GDP of over $1 trillion, an historic, nearly $150 trillion in African American history would also vanish. And, it is not nearly over yet. The depopulators see all Americans as nothing more than just property. America has outlived its usefulness. The depopulators are repossessing, and taking it all back. They are cashing out, and not $1 will be left behind. But the most important message here is that depopulation is not a black problem. It's a pan-ethnicity, multiracial, global human extinction problem. America is under attack. And with its military having surrendered on September 11, 2001, nearly 10 years after the December 26, 1991, dissolution of the Soviet Union, the U.S. is completely defenseless. Over 25 million African Americans have been captured, or killed. And over 125 million Americans have been captured, or killed. But that is a topic better left for historians to deal with now. The conflict between the official and unofficial census numbers clearly define what we are calling the big dirty secret and huge nasty lie. Now consider that if you never saw it coming, that America's greatest enemy, the Soviet Union, would just one day up and vanish overnight, then what makes you certain the United States will not vanish over a very long night, also lasting years? Just like the Soviet Union. But America will vanish, and without a single shot fired. Just like the Soviet Union, but much more deadlier and deceptive. Then there's the fake news versus the head fake news. For instance, what about the FEMA coffin head fake? What do they need coffins for, in a fully automated, assembly line, efficient, mass cremation operation? Have you seen how clean, tireless, precise, and productive their AI robots work? The depopulators love showing off and bragging about their remarkable, miniaturized, shiny technology. By the way, you might want to take another look at those chemtrails overhead. It could be your fellow Americans' remains are being dispersed right in plain sight. Heads up, the mass crematoriums may have went airborne years ago. What about the Second Amendment/gun confiscation head fake? What's the chance you won't be armed when you are fooled into willingly walking into a Purge pipeline processing center? Don't worry, it won't look anything like a Purge pipeline processing center. What about camping out, up in the woods, and in the hills for a little off-grid, camouflage, survivalist experience? Have you ever tried exercising your Second Amendment right by shooting your way out of a raging forest fire that was set while you and your family slept in the middle of the night? Have you ever tried shooting your way out of a flash, Category 5 hurricane? A roving pack of 5 to 10, flash supercell tornadoes. Then there's flash floods, earthquakes, pandemics, meteors, and an assortment of man-made disasters. Have you ever tried shooting your way out of unemployment? Shooting your way out of foreclosure, your hacked bank account, or runaway inflation? It won't be effective. I sure hope your Second Amendment right can be used as a flotation, fireproof, radiation shield, airlift, light detection device when the need arises. How to read today's headlines. The Headline Remix. Headline: Man wins almost $300 million lottery, Illinois flat out refuses to pay him. Wrong. Dead man walking wins almost $300 million lottery. Illinois tells their walking dead lottery whiners. Correction. Winners. To go away, and drop dead. Anyway, What do a people soon to be depopulated need $300 million for? Headline: GOP health plan gives millionaires $50,000, takes $1,420 from the poor. Wrong. GOP health plan gives millionaires $50,000, takes $1,420 from the poor who are no longer with us to complain about it. Headline: The U.S. is facing a massive doctor shortage. Wrong. The U.S. is facing a massive doctor shortage because doctors are dropping dead from taking their own medicine and submitting to their own deadly treatments. Or, the U.S. is facing a massive patient shortage from doctors killing patients off in mass numbers. Headline: Melting business. Warmer U.S. winter hurts small companies. Wrong again. Cremated business, an increasing people depopulation shortage, year-round, hurts small companies. Headline: For whites across America, deaths of despair are rising. Translation: For the newly desperate and impoverished whites across America, the desperation to poverty to purge to cremation pipeline is now at capacity and humming along smoothly. Headline: Thousands of Americans are fleeing the big cities in preparation for the coming American apocalypse. Incorrect. Thousands of African Americans are vanishing from big cities because of the American depopulation operation that is underway. Time for a roll call. Raise your hand if you're still here. Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, Cleveland, Milwaukee, just to name a few. According to data just released by the US Census Bureau, also known as the US Send Us to a Better Place Bureau, Chicago took the prize for the biggest population loss from 2015 to 2016, and it was followed by Detroit and Baltimore. Has anyone noticed an increase in chemtrails lately? Those airborne crematoriums might be nearing maximum capacity.